Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Escape Pod. Thank you so much for escaping with us. That's Andrew, and I'm Alex.
And as always, with great power comes great severance ability.
Yes, one of the most popular streaming original TV shows of all time has concluded its second season.
Yeah, how long are we going to have to wait? Because last time they had to wait 3 years. It was crazy. We didn't.
We didn't. We watched it like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we immediately got to jump to the next season. Yes. All right, here's what we got going on today. We got a couple things to review at the end of the episode. We're going to do Severance, season 2 and the whole show, and then obviously the new episode of Daredevil. We'll talk about that real quick.
Yep.
And then there's something in between.
Snow White.
We're
going to be reviewing the new live-action Snow White.
Just a little shout-out to the Patreon. We love y'all. They got the Daredevil review early.
They got it the night the episode came out.
Oh yeah, we filmed at like midnight.
Yeah, so that's something going forward that we're probably going to do on the Patreon is maybe not the night of every time, but way early, couple days early. Obviously, you guys know we'll be talking about Daredevil Born Again every single episode on this podcast for 10 to 15 minutes, and you'll get to see that today. But if you want to see it early, like literally the night the episode came out, we posted that on Patreon, so the patron's already seen that part of this episode. Hello, everybody. It's Alex and Andrew from the future or the past or the present.
We got a lot going on.
Depends on what Christmas movie it is.
Good one.
Thank you.
Ghost of Christmas Present.
Sure.
See the fat one?
Yes.
Past is...
the scary one.
No, that's future, because he's
the scariest one is future. The scary one, it's the guy with the chains.
No, that's Marley.
Oh.
That's Marley, his business partner.
So he warns him about it. I thought he was the ghost of Christmas Past, no?
No, Past is the woman?
There's a woman?
What the frick? Yeah.
Oh, wasn't there a child? Maybe that's Past?
No, there's not a child. Here, can you unlock your... I'm looking it up. Ghost of Christmas... Yeah.
Christmas Carol... Ghosts. Okay.
Past.
So Jacob Marley, you're right, and then the three spirits of Christmas. So Christmas Past. What the hell?
You tell them about CinemaCon.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to CinemaCon this weekend in Las Vegas. It's a convention, pretty exclusive. We did not get invited last year, but we are very excited to be going this year. And it's like movie studios, and they're telling all of the cinema owners, right, like theater, like AMC and stuff, they're like, hey, this is what you've got to be excited about this year. They're showing us the live action How to Train Your Dragon early. They're showing us the John Wick spinoff Ballerina with Ana de Armas early. And we're seeing a whole bunch of stuff. Just a couple years ago, they showed the opening Gwen Stacy helicopter museum scene of Across the Spider-Verse several months early. And they also showed The Flash. Last year, they got to see scenes from Deadpool and Wolverine early. Very, very exciting stuff. We're probably going to get some Superman stuff. We're probably going to get a lot of stuff. It's very, very exciting stuff. And we wanted to let you guys know that while we're there, we got a big hotel room as big as we could get. And we're going to be there with Soups and Chris, Baziah, and Connor. And a lot of main characters that you guys know from the pod and people that you haven't heard from on the pod. And we're going to be doing mega pods pretty much every single night after CinemaCon. All that's going to be available on the Patreon for you guys. And we'll be posting clips from those episodes as well on TikTok, Instagram. So make sure you're following there. And always make sure you're subscribed. We really, really appreciate it and love you guys forever. Which ghosts are that?
Yeah, so clips of it will be public on things like YouTube
Absolutely.
or Instagram, but then like to get it early and like the full versions or something.
Correct.
Okay, great.
Because it's only going to be 1 or 2 clips per.
Yeah, because we're just going to like randomly be doing it at night in a hotel room. So
Correct.
Be prepared for that. Okay, so this is why it was weird. Present is jovial giant resembling Father Christmas, like we said, and then yet to come is the bleak feature that looks like death.
Yeah, we know that.
Okay.
Grim Reaper.
Christmas Past, from the book and stuff, this spirit, described as both young and old, shows Scrooge scenes from his past. And sometimes it said that it's been shown as a child or someone that looks like a child and an old guy at the same time. So like it's been portrayed different ways. Like this is in the old movies like a ghost
gross
woman.
That looks awful.
And then in the Jim Carrey one, it's just like a candle
I remember
child
that.
thing.
Yes.
So and sometimes it's a woman, sometimes it's a spirit child, and sometimes it's, so that's why it's weird.
Weird.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Anyways,
And,
on for the rest of the episode.
Enjoy the rest.
Are we doing Hilo Buffalo?
If you don't mind.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I've got one prepared of this,
Great.
okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I just talked about Transformers Con, and I'm going to try and keep this brief, but this is a slightly involved story. You guys saw in the Transformers episode that we had with Alex Coleman and Sammy J that there's a specific Transformers design that means quite a bit to me. I called it a top 5 character design ever, and that is Transformers Cybertron Galvatron. Very niche. It's like, I get it. Like, that's not something that you hear every day. It's like a Transformers cartoon from like 2004, 2005, long time
You're
ago.
a nerd.
Exactly.
You sound like someone who shouldn't work out, according to you.
Thank you.
I'm not clinking you on that.
Well, you get it.
I worked
You
out this morning
understand
for
the
Q.
And that just like growing up, like that design really got me into Transformers anyway. That was my first experience with Transformers. I love that design. So we had just done the Transformers episode and we were at NostalgiaCon in Houston, and there was somebody there that was doing commissioned paintings. And I was like, bang, I'm going to commission you to do Transformers Cybertron Galvatron. So I've got that right here.
Very cool.
And at the convention was a gentleman by the name of David Kay, who, even if you're not a Transformers fan, you might know him. He's a legendary voice actor. He's done hundreds of voices, but he's done a lot of Transformers voices. And he did the voice for an Optimus Prime and this and that. That's why he was there. But he did the voice for Transformers Cybertron Galvatron for the American dub. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to bring my painting and get him to sign it. So I paid, got him to sign it. It was cool meeting him. He was a nice guy, whatever. Then I'm there walking around at the convention a little bit more, and I realize that there's this guy there who sells these unbelievable Transformers paintings on his websites, and he's got a Transformer Cybertron Galvatron. Go up to him. I ask him if he has it. He doesn't. No problem. It already sold. But then I noticed that his booth says he's designed a lot of Transformers designs. And I'm like, by any chance, did you design that? And he goes, yes, I designed Transformers.
Freaking cool.
Cybertron Galvatron. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, well, I have this. Can I pay you to sign this? And he was super nice about it. He was like, you don't need to pay me, but that's incredible, whatever. And not only did he sign it, and as he's signing it, tell me about what went into the design for it, but he also drew him on the back. And I was like overwhelmed by his kindness and like generosity in that moment. And so I took that back to the car, and I was like, you know what? He had some expensive paintings at his booth that were amazing. I'm going to go buy one. So I bought this, which if you watch the video podcast, you've noticed this behind me the last couple of episodes, last 2-3 episodes. This is from him, Aaron Archer. It's an incredible painting. It's under black light. It looks really, really cool. I'm glad to have it on the set now. And when I was buying that, he was obviously surprised and was like, oh, wow. Like, and we had this moment where I assume it's like how Star Wars fans have this moment with Hayden Christensen, where he was like, you know, when we made that show and when I was designing those characters that like you grew up with, we got so much hate from the 80s fans that are like, you're ruining Transformers, da this, da that, you don't get it. But we weren't making it for them. We were making it for you. And he was like, when were you born? I was like, 2000. He was like, you were our target audience. And like, now that you're growing up and you could tell me that I've had an impact on you, that means the world to me. I start crying. I start crying.
It was Coco all over again.
Yeah, no, for real. I just like, that was a really, really special moment, and probably my favorite moment of the year so far was that moment I got to share with him. And
it was awesome when you were first telling me. It was like a really awesome story. I was like so happy for you.
Yeah.
I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
This is like peak autistic nerdy cuteness.
Yeah. No, it was.
You are cute.
Special.
See, this is why cute's at the top. This is cute.
You may be selling me.
This is adorable.
No, but that
awesome.
That was a beautiful. That was just
shout out to him.
No.
So now you have Transformers
Cybertron
Galvatron signed by the voice actor and the person who designed it.
Correct.
Sick.
Really sick.
Sick. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah. So that's hanging up in my room. But yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's the highlight of my year for sure.
Great. Cool.
My low. I'll make it quick because my high was so involved. My low is
it was maybe existential and a little like deep and stuff.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, and you know what? Just like how all of your lows are weird and existential and unclear, all of my lows lately have been about the Rams. We recently cut Cooper Kupp, a top 5 player in Rams history for me, the best wide receiver season of all time. And we posted a video saying goodbye to him, and he posted a video saying goodbye to LA. And I was watching this video, obviously getting emotional. I'm an emotional guy. I did shed a couple tears. And I'm just sitting there watching it and thinking to myself, like, you don't do this to like your guy. You know what I'm saying? This feels like them killing off, I don't know, Chris Hemsworth Thor, like on a whim.
Foggy.
Right now? Yeah, like you don't do that. Like for all the stuff that he's given us as a franchise, I feel like we did him dirty. And even though he went to Seattle, I wish him all of the success in the world.
Okay.
And then Buffalo, speaking of paintings, I have an idea. I don't know if we have any artists watching the podcast, but I have a big picture idea. So we have a loft in our upstairs, and we've got a lot of art in the loft because Angel does his rugs up there. It's an awesome space. But we have like this big space in the middle of like 2 canvas prints of 2 there's like a comic Spider-Man one and a No Way Home Spider-Man one. And there's like a big space, and we're trying to fill that space. And we've been trying to fill that space for a while. I don't know if there are any artists watching the podcast, but I think that this is a brilliant idea. And if you do this, I will gladly buy it. What do you think about doing, in Endgame, when Captain America is like staring down the whole Thanos army? Mm-hmm. What if somebody did that framed the exact same way, but it's a tattered, destroyed Invincible in his suit and all of the enemies? Angstrom and the Invincible War guys and Doc Seismic and the Mauler twins and Conquest and Thrag, who we'll see in the future, whatever. I think that would be sick.
That would be sick. That would be very cool. Yeah, because we don't have anything Invincible up there, really, do we?
No,
yeah.
And we're all huge fans of Invincible. So if you're an artist, I'll commission you to do that. Yeah. I think that would be sick. Yeah. Do you have a high-low, Buffalo? Have you come up with something?
Yeah, I'm just gonna go with my high is how much me and Angel utterly dominated the other couple of days.
Yeah, it was a good night. Not a good night for you last night.
No, because I wasn't with Angel. I was with my freaking loser friend Dre. Mm-hmm. Dre's not good at the game. But the teams were you by yourself
because I'm so good. If I had a
team,
bet, I'd win every time.
Roll, and you're invincible all the time. Mm-hmm. Rachel and Zach, and then me and Angel. Mm-hmm. And it was awesome because I played Link for half of it, both nights. I played Link for half, and then I played Samus for half. And when we originally started, it was 1st to 5, and then we extended it to 1st to 10.
Yep.
So there were basically like 2 benchmarks you had to hit. And we hit 5,
yep.
And it was like 5 to 3 to 3. And then we lost like 8 in a row.
Yep.
And then both of y'all were ahead of us. And then we came back and won. And it was electric. We're standing on the couch, chest bumping and all this stuff. And then the next night we do the same thing. But it's the final score is like Zach and Rachel have 9, we have 8, and we have to win 2 in a row. Yep. And then we did. And it was like, It was awesome. It was awesome.
It was electric when you guys went down the Spanish number. Uno, dos, tres. And they go all the way to 10. It was hilarious.
So that was my high. My lows last night. Yeah, that kind of sucked. I don't like playing with Dre. I don't like losing that much.
Yeah.
Zach finds it funny, but it is very therapeutic for me. I randomly just scream because it does hurt me deep on the inside.
Yeah, of course.
And like I have to let it out. So like every once in a while, when it's like 6 games in a row where I lose, and to some bull crap, like a minecart came out of the heavens. And
yeah.
And I just sit there after the game. I just have to scream. It's because I genuinely hurt on the inside.
Yeah.
And that's my relief.
Yeah.
And then my Buffalo, this could have been another high. Is the past couple weeks, you and Rachel and Angel have been absolutely rabid for our cookies.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm looking at a world-class baker right now. That moves up your hot scale.
Yeah.
Baking is hot.
I'll take that. Everyone agrees it's our number 1 cookie that we've made. And I made a batch by myself earlier this week, and I doubled the recipe, and they're already all gone. And then, like last night, you and Angel was like every 5 minutes was just like, cookies. He's like smashing the cookies. And I had to convince Zach to do it, but we made another batch of them. It's the cookies and cream ones. And the fact that y'all love them so much. I totally get now why, like, like in the South, like moms and everything just like love cooking for the family and stuff. Because it's like when you make people happy with food, it's pretty freaking lit. So we're making new types of cookies today. And baking with Zach is always fun. We were listening to Wicked last night. I was juggling eggs. And Dre was over. I love Dre. So I'm glad y'all enjoyed them so much. That's definitely number one. I think the Brookies are number two. Especially with some ice cream. So we'll see where these are. We're going to make crinkle cookies.
The Brookies, the brownie cookies with vanilla ice cream was like generational.
Yeah. Warm them up in the microwave for like 10-15 seconds and then put some ice cream on it. It's next level.
It was nasty in the highest, most complimentary form of the word.
Great. Yeah. It's awesome what we'll tell that story on the Patreon. The flour with Zach.
Hilarious. We'll tell that story on the Patreon. It's actually on the Patreon already because that's Fridays.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into some nerdy stuff. We've talked about ourselves way too long.
Way too long.
No one gives an F.
How you smelling lately?
Oh, it's crazy you asked that because, like, you're talking about getting recognized in public. I'm talking about getting smelled in public.
Mando!
People are just coming up to me being like, oh my gosh, you smell so good. And I say Mando. Mando, whole body deodorant. Safe to use anywhere on your body. Nice. Now the set's going to smell amazing.
It's in my eyes.
It was created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. It's clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor up to 72 hours. You know how long that is?
3 days.
Nice work. All products are baking soda free, paraben free. You can choose from a variety of scents like bourbon leather. Do we have that?
We do. Bourbon leather is what I just sprayed.
Oh, that smells really good.
Yeah.
It just hit me. Cloverwoods, Mount Fuji, and Pro Sport. Nice. So Mando Starter Pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, and free shipping. And for you guys, special offer, new customers get $5 off with our exclusive code. I believe it's ESCAPE.
Yes.
So that gets 40% off your your starter pack at shopmando.com. Please support the show.
Yeah.
And tell them we sent you.
Shopmando.com.
That'll help the show. Snow White?
Yep.
You want to do...
Score out of 10?
Sure.
Yeah, so we just saw the live action Snow White movie. Here are our scores out of 10. 3, 2, 1. 5 out of 10?
6. Yeah.
I think we're on the same spot here.
Yeah.
I think you're going to be fascinated for what I've got to say.
Okay.
And I think you might agree.
Okay, go ahead.
From scene to scene, it's one of the best movies of the year and then one of the worst movies of the year.
Interesting.
Oh, you disagree?
You mean like one scene's great and the next scene sucks?
Yep.
That's fair. That's fine. I think everyone's going in with low expectations.
Absolutely. And it exceeded my expectations.
Yep. It's fun. So there are some clear, definitive problems.
Yep.
That are just like kind of eye-rolly. The design of the dwarves looks exactly the same as the trailers. And it's just kind of like, when they first appear, you're like that. Obviously, people are going to complain about Gal's acting. I think there are scenes where she does fine, and then there's like moments where it was like, so people and her song, the song was fine. Maybe her performance wasn't that great. So like, I'm not on the Gal hate train as much as everybody else. I think she's given us some good stuff, especially as in the first Wonder Woman movie, and I appreciate her. But there are moments where it wasn't the best. It could have been better. So the dwarves and the movie's just like really predictable, which is good because it kind of gives us like the sense of like old Disney. Like it's, you're giving us just this good story of this woman who is a princess and is a good person. And I love that. But it is pretty safe and you can just kind of know what's going to happen the whole movie. So because of those things, like those are the clear definitive problems. But as you said, from scene to scene, there are scenes where you're just watching it and I literally out loud in the theater was like, cute. This is good.
Yep.
The hi-ho stuff and the whistle while you work.
Yep.
And Rachel Zegler singing and the love song I actually really liked between the two of them and some of the cinematography. There were just moments where I was like, this is cute. This is what this needs. So yeah, it was fine. I say it's fine/good with problems, but it's cute. That's basically how I feel.
I'm going to go down the line and talk about things that I want to talk about, and you'll just give your perspective.
Okay.
Some of them you've already covered, some of them that you haven't. I think the live action Snow White is the best looking Disney project in years.
Really?
Like, I saw 2 scenes in that movie that I was like, this is ugly. Otherwise, I think that it's shot like phenomenally. There's some spectacular shots in this movie. Some in a forest that I won't get into, but like the colors are so vibrant.
Yep.
By the way, it's a lot of the movie takes place in a forest. Guess what? They're in a real forest. They're not on the volume. What a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, there were moments where I was like, that's definitely a real forest. And I was like, that's awesome.
Because, oh man, we're so used to them being on a room in a room this big. It's so annoying. So that's a big plus for me, is that it's the best looking project that Disney has put out in a long time, for me, at least. I have a very strong opinion about this. The dwarves. A lot of controversy with the dwarves, obviously. Obviously, I feel the way that everybody else feels. You should have just cast regular people. This weird CGI thing you're doing is a weird choice. They look good.
No.
I understand you don't liking the designs, and they're off-putting, but they don't look CGI-y. They look good. Like, they're actually there. At one point, one sheds a tear. It looks great.
Yes and no. So I'm just going off my feeling here. Like, it is off-putting.
Yes.
Especially grumpy, for some reason. When you first see it, you're like, oh, weird. They do look magical and interesting enough where, like, it kind of makes sense and the CGI looks fine, but there are moments where I was like, yeah, it's just, they don't look real enough. Just the proportions and whatever. And they're supposed to be creatures, you know, that aren't normal. So you can excuse it a little bit, but I think that is if people don't like it, I think it's an okay complaint.
I think it's a great complaint of the film, and I still disagree with the decision. But I want to give, I'm Mr. The CGI looks bad. I thought the CGI in the dwarves looked good.
Okay.
You said it a little bit. I am a Gal Gadot defender. I don't think she's the worst actress of all time, the way that a lot of people seem to think. Kal-El No is bad. The Nile is bad. Her line in Wonder Woman 84 is bad. Wonder Woman 2017 is one of the greatest superhero movies of all time. And because of her political opinions and how she is legitimately gives bad performances in other movies, people have discounted that movie and its impact. That's one of the most important superhero movies of all time. It's one of the best superhero movies of all time. And I hate the revisionist history that movie is now receiving. So I am a big Gal Gadot defender. This was a heinous performance. She is awful in this movie.
Really?
I thought every line was Kal-El No level bad. Like, I don't remember a single line where I was like, that's okay. Like, I thought she was terrible.
I thought it worked for the character a bit, where she's kind of just mean and deadpan with some of the stuff. But there were moments where it was like there was a little bit of an overacting, or she's making a knife appear, and I'm like, just bring it down a little bit. I don't know. I feel like there were moments of bad and there were moments of fine. I don't think it was awful all the way through.
I think I've pinpointed why she's not a great actress, though. Gal Gadot. She's a very thick accent. And I'm not there are plenty of people that are amazing actors with accents, Antonio Banderas, Javier Bardem, but it seems like, and you can watch this in watching Gal Gadot, it feels like you're watching her not act. She's like thinking about how to pronounce the words properly.
The accent and the pronunciation of words, I think, does lend itself to perhaps people thinking she's a worse actress than she is.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
I think that's the biggest part of it, though. The biggest thing I want to talk about with this movie is Snow White, the live action, is under a lot of scrutiny because they're changing a lot of stuff, and that's bothering a lot of people. Some of them, it's bothering for stupid reasons, like Rachel Zegler isn't white enough. I mean, kill me now. Like, are you serious? But some of the complaints, like the attitude of the press tour 2 years ago and a year ago of Rachel Zegler being like, that original cartoon sucks, right? Fair. They change a lot from the original story in this movie. And in my opinion, they change too much to keep some of the things the same that they do because it hurts the movie. Does that make sense to you? They change a lot from the original source material, but then they don't change things to like be iconic. I don't think the dress looks good in any single shot.
Yeah, I don't care. I liked it. Don't care.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. If they didn't have that dress, like, what's the point? Like that, like it looked great.
But you change so many other things, like where it's like, what's the point of even not changing this? You've changed every other thing in the story.
Yeah, but what's the original story? Like in terms of like princess movies, it is probably the princess movie with the least amount of story.
Sure.
So they weren't really changing a lot. They were more just adding a bunch of stuff. The only thing they changed or took out that I think is bad or iconic from the original was the Prince song, "Someday My Prince Will Come." That's one of the most iconic Disney songs of all time, and you took it out because
you didn't want that to be the story.
Yeah, sure. But
so this is my point. Spoiler alert. I'm sorry for the live action Snow White. The true love's kiss still saves her at the end. Mm-hmm. So it's like, that doesn't make sense, in my opinion, in the context of the story, because you've changed the story so much. So you should have just changed that.
What did they change that made that not make sense?
How little of it in the original, the whole story is one day when my prince will come, I'm going to get married, etc., etc. That's the whole premise of the original. So then this version, it's not a big part of the story, but then he's still the guy to save the day with true love's kiss.
Yeah,
that
but
doesn't make sense.
I think they did the story of a love story just a little more modern. Like, they still fell in love. They still had a whole love story. They had him literally sacrificing himself with the arrow. They had her worried that he might not make it. They had all of them watching them dance and be cute. Like, it wasn't like shoehorned in where it's just at the end, oh, he's going to come and kiss her. Like, they actually told a love story. It just wasn't her whole character wasn't just the prince. It was also, I'm a princess and I'm going to stand up to the queen, and we're going to get to know each other a little bit better. So yeah, it's different from the original, but I think they just told it a little more fleshed out or better. I don't think that. And also, if you took out true love's kiss, what's the point of the movie?
That's my point, is you've changed so much at this point. I think that
but they didn't change the fact that there was a love story.
But the things that they kept the same, I think, hurts the movie, where you should have just done. No. I disagree with you here. You should have just done either exactly the same and not change anything and then appease those people, or appease the people like me and do everything different and at least justify its existence. This thing, it's doing this middle thing where I don't think you're pleasing anybody. And you've definitely pissed off the purists, and you're going to lose people based on the fact that, like, you did things the same but not different enough.
Well, I think I'm someone in the middle that they're appeasing.
Yeah, but you gave it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, but not because they kept certain things in. I would have been way lower if they didn't have the true love's kiss or the dress or the dwarves.
I don't think so. I think those are things that hurt the movie.
No, not at all.
All right.
No. I think the movie would be even less received if they took those things out.
All right.
Just because she didn't sing a song about one day my prince will come, maybe they could have put that in there a little bit more at the start. Like, that's something she's always wanted because of her parents. They told more of a story with her parents, and she wants a marriage and to rule with someone alongside her. Maybe they could have put that story in there. But, like, a large portion of the story is devoted to her and that guy developing some sort of a relationship. So, no, I think taking it out would have been way worse.
Interesting. So you might completely disagree with me on this. I think the script is awful. I think some of the lines that they have these poor actors say are bad.
I mean, yeah, that's probably why it's a 6 out of 10. There wasn't any Oppenheimer level writing or anything, and it's pretty predictable. But I kind of give it somewhat of a pass, because it's a kids movie that's based on a movie from 1930s. I think they did a solid job updating some of the stuff, but yeah, it's nothing. That's why I say it's fine / good. Like, the script it's there. Yeah. So I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you completely.
Speaking of it being a kids movie, the live action Snow White will be very popular among children.
Yeah.
I think there were a lot of really cute moments, and there were a lot of moments where I was like, oh, kids are going to love that. Mm-hmm. So Disney still has that magic, where it's like, no matter the controversy, no matter what is going on with this movie, I think they made a movie that young audiences are going to adore. And I'm very interested to see how much money this makes.
Yeah, because I was kind of thinking about it. Like, I have a couple of cousins that are around the 10 age, 10 to 14 now. They're a little bit older. but they've always loved Disney. They would always go see stuff like this. So I was watching it kind of thinking like, oh, will they like this? Will they not like this? And I think generally they will like it. I don't think they're going to love it. But I think kids and will find stuff to like, because there are parts of it that are cute. And some of the songs are good. And Rachel can sing. It's just not going to knock your socks off. That's just what it is. It could have been way better. It could have been a lot worse.
Could have been so much worse.
Yeah.
I consistently, like, Whistle While We Work is one of my favorite sequences in a movie this year.
I don't often listen to music from movies after. I listen to some of the Wish soundtrack after. I know, it's crazy. But while baking with Zach, we listened to Hi Ho and Whistle While You Work because it's just do, 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 do. They did a great job with it. And
they did a great job with that.
Hi Ho, they extended. Like in the original, I don't think it's that long or have
Yep.
that many lines and stuff. And it was good. And that's another one of those shots that was good when they put their hand on the mines and it all lights up.
It's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous.
Gorgeous. Legitimately, like, some breathtaking shots. And the CGI consistently, every animal in that movie is CGI, and every single one of them looks good. Mm-hmm. Like, it does.
It opens with little animals, and like immediately people in the audience were like, "Aw." So yeah, it's cute. What did you think about the shot of the True Love's kiss? Did you like that shot? Very orange and
yeah.
the
Like,
forest.
it was just really, like, consistently the movie. My favorite shot in the movie was some stuff that happens in the dark forest. I thought was like.
What about? There was also the shot of Gal turning into the creepy. Yeah. That looked nice.
Really good.
It was like a one shot of her just walking down some stairs, and she gradually got
ugly. It
uglier.
was really cool.
Yeah. So there's some good. It's just kind of there, you know. I was hoping for a 5 out of you. I thought the highest you would go is maybe a 5, and I was going to be happy with that. So yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, inconsistent, and it doesn't surprise me. Like, I know I got a lot of hate for saying this a couple weeks ago, where I was like, the Daredevil Born Again reviews are mixed. But, 85% isn't really mixed. It is overwhelmingly positive. It's just less positive than the previous seasons. This movie is actually mixed. It's got like a 47% on Rotten Tomatoes with 99 reviews. That's pretty much 50-50. Like, that, it's interesting. And, like, you read the reviews, like, coming from all over, like, news sources. New York Times hates it, but then the Washington Post loved it. It's so mixed. And I do think that that's what's going to happen.
For sure.
I don't think that this is going to be universally loved, but it's definitely not going to be universally hated.
Yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of people are wanting to hate it, and that's tough because I think that most people are either just not going to see it or they're going to go to hate it.
I walked in thinking it was going to be awful.
Me too.
And I was like consistently like, this isn't awful.
Yeah. Well, there were parts where I was like, that was bad. That was really bad.
Absolutely.
But you teared up, didn't you?
No.
I could have sworn I looked over and you were like,
Andrew.
I could have sworn. No. I looked at Rachel like, are we being serious?
No, there was not an emotional moment in this movie that got me in the slightest.
I'm an emotional guy. I can't remember when it was.
No. I think there was a lot of moments in the movie where I went,
Yeah, and I was like, cute. Whistle While You Work, Hi Ho.
I thought Whistle While You Work was phenomenal.
Rachel does great. Yeah.
Rachel with the thing, like, very accurate.
Yeah.
Like, really good.
And one of my favorite things about the live action Snow White is that they let her be just like a good person princess.
Yep.
That's one of the reasons I like the Cinderella remake is because like her whole thing is have courage and be kind, and she's going to be and that's what makes some of the Disney princesses great is that they are kind and good people regardless.
Yep.
And that doesn't change them. And Snow White, she was good and kind because of her parents, and she learned that spreading kindness and hope to the townspeople was important, and then the evil queen comes along, and you can see that when she's, the Princess Problem song, and she's kind of showing them a new way to think and give them the bandits hope again, and then she does the same thing with the dwarves. She comes in and she's like, you're all fighting. How about we all be kind and just put some work in and clean this place up? That was good. And then when she shows up, and maybe it wasn't explained enough and needed some better script, but like when the town comes behind her and walks up to face the queen, it was because she's just good. Thank you. I was literally thinking about the line from Phil Coulson. It was like, well, maybe we need some old fashioned. When he's talking to Captain America, I was like, that's old fashioned Disney. Or this woman is just being a beacon of light, and it was cute. It was cute. We just watched Daredevil Born Again season 1 episode 4.
Correct.
So can we just say spoilers? Or do you?
Yeah.
We gotta like.
We can't talk about it without spoilers.
Yeah.
Week to week, we're gonna do spoiler reviews every episode of Daredevil Born Again. Give me your general thoughts on Daredevil Born Again episode 4. Do you have a score out of 10?
Yeah, give it like a 8.5.
Yeah. I think I'm with you. I think it was a slight step back from the previous episode. I think I liked the previous episode more.
I think I like this one a little more.
Why?
Both endings are shocking.
Okay.
I guess I got the other one spoiled for me, so maybe that took it away a little bit.
Maybe.
I love the lawyering stuff, but we get a little bit of that in this episode too.
Correct.
What else was? Yeah, what else was? I'm trying to compare. Why do you like the other one?
Kind of the discussion we just had on last week's pod, where I was talking about
and the Punisher scene.
Absolutely, and we'll get to that. But
Yeah.
I like season 1 of Invincible more than season 3 of Invincible because it's tighter, one story consistently, etc. And there are hints of little other things, but it's mostly one story. That's how I feel with episode 3 versus episode 4 of Daredevil Born Again. Daredevil Born Again episode 4, while being good and having high highs, is all over the place. Okay, now we're going to show you Muse. Now we're going to do Matt doing detective work about something that happened last episode.
Oh, that was sick too. I loved that.
Loved that.
Loved that.
Okay, now he's going to be a lawyer and do fun lawyer stuff while being flirty with this woman we've never met. Okay, and now we're going to laugh about Wilson Fisk always being surrounded by, we built this city on rock and roll.
That was such a good bit.
Hilarious.
But this time it's in Latvian.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Latvian. Because I thought it was Latvian.
Yeah.
At first I was like, holy, this is huge. But no, it's Latvian. Two different things. And then we're going to go and we're going to see Frank, and it's going to be the best scene in the whole show. And it was just...
I think, maybe that's why I liked it. It had a little bit of everything. It had a little bit of the lawyering. It had a little bit of his Riz with the woman. Mm-hmm. It's got a little bit of Fisk. It's got a lot of Fisk.
Riz with the therapist that he's dating at the end.
Oh, that's what I was referring to. You're referring to the
other woman
the lawyer
that's checking
lady.
him out. Yeah.
She was giving him the eye multiple times. And then he realizes that Cop Man didn't.
Yes.
By listening to his heartbeat and everything.
That was good.
So it was a really good episode. Very good.
Is a lot of people will say it, especially talking about it tomorrow. Is the Frank Castle Matt Murdock scene in episode 4 of Daredevil Born Again in the conversation for best MCU scene ever?
Ooh. I would have to really, really, really think through that. It depends on it depends on what kind of scene you're talking, because you can compare it to the Iron Man snap scene or the portal scene, which is just so epic in an action sequence. But in terms of a 1v1 conversation, I mean, it was so on par with the original and their ideologies and the way they expressed that, and the fact that he brought up Foggy and was just. And that he brought up his son and how his son is saying, "Go get him, Dad." Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
They handled it very, very well. And I said, obviously it's a great cameo scene and it serves a very good purpose for the structure of the show or whatever. But I do hope he comes back and that's not all we get of him, because I want him to help with the cop situation and whatever. And it would be cool if this is a cameo scene, sure, but I do want a little bit more of him. But in terms of overall dialogue scene in the MCU, it's got to be up there, right? I would really need to think through it though.
One of my favorite 1v1 dialogue scenes in the MCU up until this point is Captain America Steve Rogers versus Tony Stark Iron Man in the press conference in Civil War, where he's talking about the pens.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going back and forth, is incredible. This shits on that. When I think about dialogue scenes in the MCU, that's the first one that comes to mind, and this scene is clearly better than that scene. This scene was so good, it helps justify the Foggy decision a lot more for me.
I was literally thinking that.
Because, it is informing who Matt is going to be for the rest of his life. Mm-hmm. And that's a story choice worthy enough to make that decision, in my opinion, even though it was so shocking and I disagreed with it, and I still disagree with how they did it. That way of doing it where it's now going to be his character. I was expecting, this is something I wanted to ask you. I thought this episode was going to be entirely the fallout of Hector's death, and Matt is like super depressed because he blames himself entirely for it. That's not what's going on in this episode at all. And I loved the juxtaposition where he's blaming himself to this day for Foggy, and that's what it is. That's so much more interesting.
You see in my reaction,
a better choice.
In my reaction when he's like, you didn't save your friend, I thought he was talking about Hector.
Oh, interesting.
Or was it Victor?
Hector Ayala.
Yeah. I thought he was talking about Hector.
Interesting.
And then it wasn't until he was like, say his name. I paused it. I was like, oh, he's talking about Foggy. I was like, that's way worse. That's so much more mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really good scene. I mean, like, back to it immediately, these two with their conversations about, oh, don't give me your gosh dang system, blah blah blah. No, it was,
and the stuff with Bullseye where he gets to breathe the same air you breathe. He got life.
What about Foggy? Did Foggy get life?
Fabulous.
So good.
Fabulous.
So good.
And I don't know if you noticed this when the credits came up. Written by Kevin Feige, this episode.
Wow.
And I didn't know that. Maybe he's written all of them. I don't know.
Friend of the pod.
But
show the picture.
But I was like, oh, we're taking this one a little bit. We're leaning a little forward for that one. And that scene was, I thought, really profound and really, really good. I'm kind of with you. It's hard to compare that Punisher, Daredevil 1v1 talk versus 360 Avengers or Portal scene or whatever.
Thor's arrival
at Wakanda. But it is an excellent scene and one of the best written scenes in the MCU.
Not as good as the opening of the show.
See, yes, it is. It's significantly better than the opening of this show. It's not even close.
No.
But I'm happy you like the opening so much. Final thing I want to talk about with this show. He's 100% going to kill Vanessa.
So it is interesting because when they're at the dinner table, they have the whole "Am I safe?" thing, and her asking, "Should I?" and him saying no. When I saw that, I was like, that was the first time I was like, oh.
I may have cooked with my take a couple weeks ago.
Perhaps. I'm still not convinced of that, but that conversation was like a little twinkling of that. But it also might just have been a little foreshadowing of him not being safe with Adam.
Sure.
Yeah.
100%. The reason I say this is not even because of the "Am I safe at the dinner?" conversation. It's because of the conversation that she has one-on-one with Matt's girlfriend.
Where she says, he'll do anything but that.
I am at my safest by his side, or whatever she said, which was a reference to season 1, by the way, which I thought was cute. That was when I was like, when she said, it was like famous last words, like that was the moment I had. I thought he was going to kill her at the dinner scene.
No.
I did. I was like, she just said she's always safe with him. He's going to kill her right now, which I'm glad he didn't, but I thought that was fascinating.
I'm still not convinced of that, but it was a twinkling of that I definitely thought of.
I would love to be right. I love being right. What do you think about Adam?
I mean, one of your complaints was that that's not Fisk. It's definitely Fisk.
Sure. One of your arguments in favor of the Vanessa situation was she's attracted to men of power. She's attracted to power. Adam has no power. He's an artist she found in a dumpster.
Yeah, well, that's why she was attracted to Fisk. I'm not saying the throwaway person she had an affair with. I'm not going to psychoanalyze every person she sleeps with. But the reason I think she loves Fisk is that, yes.
Sure. I'm just saying. I wanted to point that out. I do think Adam in a dungeon is interesting.
Is that Fisk? Is that enough Fisk for you? Him eating dinner, a fancy dinner with a fork and knife while this guy is screaming bloody murder to let him out?
Yeah, I like it. It's good.
Okay. Just had to wait 2 more episodes. Is that too long?
Yeah, but he still looks awkward in the therapy.
That's the most awkward he's looked. I don't think that was the only time.
And I like the campaign stuff. I like him being frustrated with his campaign manager, where he's like, I want to do this. And she's like, you can't do it that way. And
If I was her, I would have quit.
100%, by the way. How about when he threatens Daniel and straight up says, it'll be the last thing you do?
I was waiting for him to add at this office.
Yes.
but no.
No. And she's like...
Yeah, that shot was good shot too because it was them in the foreground and then it rack focuses to her.
Yes. So, yeah, I would have quit as well. But, like, him being frustrated with her, I think it's interesting just to position for him who always gets his way. And then another thing is with it is I loved, like we said earlier in this, I loved the singing bit. I thought it was hilarious.
It was really funny.
Both times it was hilarious.
And we're ready for song. No, that is very talented.
So talented. Thank you. The city never sleeps. Like, that's good. I like that because you're selling me on this guy's really uncomfortable in this world, but he clearly really wants to do it. Now, you're going to really have to sell me on the motivation here. What do you think about that?
Of him wanting...
He's got to have a really good motivation to be mayor. Does that make sense?
Kind of. That doesn't really bother me.
You think you don't need an explanation for why he wants to be mayor?
I think he's given it already.
Interesting.
Yeah.
He wants to fix the city as he always says he wanted to do, but now he's going to do it
No,
legally.
he's just trying it a different way.
Yeah.
But he's obviously still in there. Did we talk about the fact that he's torturing a guy and just keeping him locked up?
No, it's
while
good.
Eating dinner?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good. Still a bitch in therapy, though.
You're so ridiculous.
Same guy? I don't think so. One scene to the next. No, I'm not giving this one to you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, they completely changed the character. They lied to you. Literally torturing a guy, keeping him in a dungeon while he eats dinner. But because he goes to therapy with Vanessa.
I don't like it. Those have consistently been my least favorite scenes in every episode.
I haven't had a problem with him at all until this episode. This episode, he looked a little too awkward. But again, it was because she was specifically describing the guy she was having and like complimenting the guy she was having an affair with. If anything is in the world is going to make Wilson Fisk look and feel awkward, it's Vanessa talking about an affair. Like, that makes perfect sense to me.
What do you think at the end of the episode mirroring each other where Daredevil's coming back and
Cookie! Oh, it's so good.
And Fisk has got the guy.
He's walking past the painting with the blood on it to go eat dinner while this guy listening to this guy screams while Matt opens up and you see the masks and the batons and then he does this little flip thing, he catches it above his head, turned me on.
Yeah.
You know how I am about that kind of stuff.
Of course, you love batons.
I love, yeah.
You love those long rods.
Well, I don't know if we need to describe it like that. I just like talented majorette type women.
You like people that are talented with long rods.
Women.
But
I don't really care
Matthew Murdock a woman?
You got me there.
Charlie Cox handling long metal rods.
I think you're focusing.
Got you really excited.
No. So
that's what I'm taking away from this conversation.
Describing it is like that is a little interesting, but I would focus less on the long rod part and more on like the talent part of it.
Because not everybody can handle those long rods.
All right, let's talk about Severance.
The
season finale for season 2 has occurred.
Just dropped. Everybody's talking about it, but
it's the best TV show that has ever been created and has ever existed, apparently.
That is the discussion online.
Yes.
Before we discuss season 2,
okay.
Before we go into spoilers for season 1 and season 2, can we do a quick review of season 1? Because we have never discussed it on the public podcast.
Yeah, I don't care.
Only briefly on the Patreon. So here's our reviews for season 1 of Severance out of 10. Okay. 3, 2, 1, 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's really good.
It's really good.
Yeah.
There are a couple moments in season 1 that make you lean forward a bit.
Yeah.
You know. We'll get to that a little bit in spoilers, but I think that season 1, the concept is strong.
Mm-hmm.
The cast is expert. I mean, some of the best actors in the world. Mm-hmm. It is the best looking TV show on television. It is shot phenomenally well. Mm-hmm. The concept is great. It gives us good answers. It answers good. It's a good mystery. Mm-hmm. It's a good plot. I like all the characters. It's just really, really, really well done. Mm-hmm. I have a couple small plot holes, and that's why I don't give it a 10 out of 10. You know me, I'm very generous to TV shows.
Yeah.
I have a couple little problems that we'll talk about in spoilers, but overall, season 1 of Severance is fabulous. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's tough not to do spoilers because most of the things I want to say are spoilers.
Of
but
course,
yeah,
yep.
I was going to mention the acting. The actors are all great. They all do their roles really, 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 really well. It is shot well, and it's just dynamic. It's just interesting.
Yep.
It's not a run of the mill show. That it's a unique concept.
Absolutely.
And I think they do the concept well. Because you could have a cool concept but then not do the concept well. And I'm going to talk about more of that in spoilers because the ways they're doing the concept. Not a spoiler. The basic concept is you're severed. You got one brain up there and you go down and it's a different brain. But same body but different person basically. And
When you work for your job.
Right, yeah, when you go into the office, right? And that's interesting enough, but it creates so many more mysteries, or it could, right? It could just be that and that be a cool show, but it can also create so many different mysteries and relationships and like moral questions and dynamics and twists, and the show is knocking that part out of the park because they're doing things that I didn't even consider they could have done with such an interesting situation where a body has basically two people in it or whatever. So
I completely agree.
Yeah.
So let's move on to season 2. Still no spoilers, but here are our scores for season 2 of Severance. 3, 2, 1, 9 out of 10.
8.59?
Yes. We will get to this in spoilers, but I think that season 2 is clearly worse than season 1 consistently, but episode 7 of season 2 I felt was the best episode of the show up until that point.
Yep.
And I felt that way about the season 2 finale. I think the season 2 finale of Severance is a masterwork.
Okay, interesting. We're going to get to that.
Interesting.
We're going to get to that. Yeah. No, episode 7 of season 2 of Severance is...
It's the best episode of the show up until that point. I believe the finale's better. Apparently you do not.
It's tough. I think the top 3 are season 1 finale, episode 7, and then season 2 finale.
Okay, so it's up there for you.
Yeah, no,
Cool.
yeah, for sure. They're all great, but yeah, that episode was one where I was like, oh, this is just a masterclass.
Yes,
and one of the best episodes of the show, and one of the best episodes of TV I've seen this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
It really was not. We just talked. Season 1 is so much tighter than season 2, and the lows of season 2 go so much lower than the lows of season 1 ever get.
Yeah.
But I feel that the highs are consistently higher. I think there's a twist early on in season 2 that is a crazy twist.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
that is a great twist with a great scene that leads to a lot of great conversations and questions.
Yeah.
And then, just like we just said, episode 7 is phenomenal. And as you just said, the finale is great of season 2. So the highs for me are so unbelievably high for season 2 that I put them at the same level.
Yeah. So overall, I mean, the pros of Severance are that it's just great. The concept's great. The acting's great. It's a really good show, and yeah, we've been enjoying it.
And before we get into spoilers, because I think we're ready to get into spoilers, and we've got a lot to talk about in spoilers. But before we get into spoilers, I have 2 things I want to talk about real quick. Number 1, we couldn't recommend this show more.
Severance, yeah. Go watch it.
My mom doesn't like sci-fi. And I watched season 1 of this show and I was like, it's a great show, but I think it's too sci-fi for my mom. And there were just so many moments in season 2 that I just said, Mom, just watch the first episode. If you don't like the first episode, turn it off, whatever. But it's to the point where I'm recommending this to people that I don't even think would like it because it is just such a good show.
Yeah.
It's so
It
well
is not
done.
for everyone.
Correct.
It is not for everyone. And I'm not going to hate on people that don't like it because it is really freaking weird. And there's a lot of just random weirdness. And if you don't like that, you're not going to enjoy this show. But I think most people do because it is well crafted, and I don't think that bothers everybody.
Yes. So I agree with literally everything you just said. And then my second thing I wanted to say before spoilers is we love Severance. We just said how much we love Severance.
Both gave it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Acting, concept, cinematography.
Yep.
We're interested. Some of the best TV show we've seen this year, blah, blah, blah.
We've got a lot of positives, but you know that a but was coming.
Yeah.
But, and I'm not going to go ahead. We could compare it to other shows in spoilers. I'm not worried about that. But I don't like the discourse online about Severance at all.
Okay.
Like all fandoms that are like stans. You know, there's a ton of people just glazing every single frame and this is the most brilliant thing ever and whatever. And that's cool and great. And believe me, we do that too. We do that more than a lot of people, right? About Invincible or
No Way Home.
I mean, if No Way Home came out when this podcast existed, I mean, you wouldn't have heard the end of it, you know? But I hate the side of the Severance discourse, and it does feel like this is a large part of the fandom that's just every other video or tweet is just, you're misinterpreting Severance and you're the biggest idiot in the world because you thought it was this and you're wrong about that. And it's not even like, people got mad at us when we said Invincible was better and this and that. That's, you know, obviously we feel that that's a little silly because look at us and what we do and everything like that. But like, I don't like the discourse about Severance where it's just like I scroll and every 3 videos on Severance TikTok is just, you're an idiot because you probably misinterpreted this scene. This is why you're such an idiot, you dummy. And I don't know. I don't like that at all.
Oh, well, anytime we dislike anything because that is Loki season 2 level complicated or interesting. If anything's too artsy or anything like that, people are automatically going to jump to you're inferior than me. You are stupider than me. I'm sure that's a huge part of the fandom. I just think, like, again, we have glazed this show for the last 10 minutes about how great this show is, and I still think it's somewhat overglazed online because of what you just said. It's like, Invincible's amazing, okay? Saying that we like Invincible a little bit more than Severance shouldn't be like, oh my gosh, these guys are like freaking stupid. Like, like we like the show.
Yeah.
And if you want to put it in the conversation for best TV show of all time, sure, you can do that. But like, just assuming everyone around you is inferior because they like it, but they don't like it enough is calm down.
Yeah.
You're becoming one of those fan bases where like, you're gatekeeping if people have to like it as much as you.
Yeah.
It's like even people like us who love the show and give it a 9 out of 10 are getting attacked because we said we liked one other show more than it. Like, that's not healthy or helpful.
Yeah.
I love Avatar: Last Airbender. It's my favorite show of all time. If someone says they like Severance more than that, I'm not going to freak out.
Yeah. Even though those people are wrong. Because Avatar: The Last Airbender is better than Severance.
They're stupid idiots. Yeah.
Let's go into spoilers. I'm going to say this. This is the biggest spoiler warning we will ever have on this podcast.
No. That's not true.
You don't think so?
No.
The spoilers in this show, like, legitimately.
The spoiler in Daredevil 1 is just as big or bigger than anything in this show, and I think our fans would care more about that.
Maybe, but, like, I feel, if you haven't watched Severance, I feel that this will ruin the show for you if you watch this. Like, if you ever plan on watching Severance and you haven't watched Severance, do not watch this.
Well, of course. It'll make the experience way less.
So much worse.
Yeah. So which one are we talking about?
The Daredevil thing happens in the first 10 minutes. It doesn't ruin the experience. These are reveals in episode 7, in episode 8, in episode 9, in episode 4.
I see what you're saying. Which one?
Let's just rank the reveals.
Okay.
Right? So spoiler warning for Severance season 1 and season 2. Let's rank the reveals in Severance. In my opinion, Miss Casey being the wife is one.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
One of the craziest twists I've ever seen in my life. Mm-hmm. I saw that a couple weeks ago. It was like 4 a.m. Rachel is sound asleep next to me. I went, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
like I started like grabbing things.
When it shows the picture frame, right? Yeah.
Because he's putting back together the picture after he ripped it. Crazy reveal.
Yeah, really good work. Really good work.
Rewatching that scene, he's doing the thing that Miss Casey does with the innies. He's like, she was kind. She always sneezed twice. She did that, and then he goes, I loved all of these things equally. It's like so brilliant. Mm-hmm. That's my number 1.
Okay.
What do you have next? Because I feel very strongly.
Well, it's kind of it's an easy reveal, and it's really early that she's his neighbor. Like
sure, but that's crazy.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And then there's some in season 2. Okay, you don't think her being the Egan and not Helly R
at the
lake
at Hoth?
Yeah.
Yes, that's number 2.
That's number 2.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're cooking right now. That is the second best reveal. That is a better reveal than she's an Egan in episode.
Which is
in the
also
finale.
crazy.
That's probably 3rd.
Oh my gosh.
That's a great reveal. But the reveal that it's
the way they did it. Well, the way they did all of the reveals is great. Like you said, the picture, that's a great reveal.
Great.
The way they reveal her is like she's at a whole gala dedicated to her being an Egan.
So good.
And then the way they reveal that is, what's his freaking name? Irving.
Yeah.
Irving just like,
Yeah,
I was so on her side. I was like, Irving, calm down. I was like, Irving's being an idiot.
Of course.
And then when she, and like, I was waiting for her to just be like, Irving, stop, and then go down there and stop him. But then she's like, you're right. Do when she said, do what you said, I paused it. I was like, no way.
And then John Turturro, who we have glazed on this podcast before because of his expert performance in Transformers. He's hilarious.
Tell Megatron that's Tango.
He's great as Falcone in The Batman, but this is his best performance of his career.
Yeah.
When he goes, yes, do it, Seth. It's like legitimately some of the best acting in TV I've ever seen.
It's so good.
It's so spectacular. And we're on her side. And I've seen a lot of people be like, oh, I thought it was obvious that it was Helena or whatever.
No, you didn't.
I thought that she said the Night Gardener thing because she was ashamed of being an Egan. Like, that's how I interpreted it. I didn't think of it the other way around. But then him being like, Helly wasn't the liar. And then what you did last night was cruel. Helly was never cruel. And then you think back, I've only know this because I've done the research and I've like watched YouTube videos about it now. But she like has trouble turning on a computer in an earlier episode because she hasn't worked there before.
Oh,
like
interesting.
Like little hints like that. She's the one that points out that there aren't cameras so that they could talk freely. Like very, and Irving's the only one that picks up on it, and it's so.
She raped him.
100%.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it like that. But
100%. She
That's
100%
crazy.
did. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. As you all know, Alex and I are a bunch of yappers, so we ended up talking about Severance for another 42 minutes. Given this episode was already at an hour, we threw the rest of that on the Patreon. I know we plugged the Patreon like 3 times in this episode. We try not to be obnoxious about it, but Alex was out of town this past weekend, and I am currently sitting here editing this the night before it is supposed to be uploaded on Monday, and we are going to be out of town later this week for CinemaCon, so our schedules have been all over the place, and we are trying to get ahead. Regardless, I want to make sure that you guys know Alex and I appreciate every single one of you so much, and we try our best to strike a healthy, fair, equal balance between content that is shared publicly and content that is shared on the Patreon. So again, apologies for 3 plugs in one episode, but that is why this particular decision happened. If you're a big Severance fan and you're a big fan of the podcast, you can find the rest of the spoiler talk over there, but we did want to make sure that we reviewed Snow White, Daredevil, and Severance on the public episode so that everyone got the majority of that content. Goodbye.